The Photographer's Jedi Library for the Yearbook Advisor. What we will cover: what is the Jedi Library and why have it? What is in the library? What makes the Jedi Library special? Part 1, Non-Sports. Part 2, Sports, and a note to the advisor. What? The Jedi Library is a collection of photo-related knowledge for the yearbook, journalism, sports, and event photographers. It can be in any form: computer files, books, magazines, videos, etc. Mine is in an MS Word document. Carmel High School uses Google Docs. These YouTube videos are the Jedi Library for my class. What is in the library? Anything and everything to help the photographer. If the photographer has a photo-related question, the answer should be in the library. Photography info, school info, sports, events, concert, plays, etc., and ideas. Why? Number one reason: it is to preserve knowledge. When the senior graduates, their knowledge walks off campus with them, and it is lost. The purpose of the library is to preserve some of that knowledge for future generations of photographers to use. Number two, rather than learning something from scratch, it can be looked up in the library. If someone asks a photo-related question, the answer should be in the library. Who is it for? Photographers to use the library and to add and update the contents of the library. How do you make it? Any form to collect data and information. Ring binder, word processing documents such as Google Docs or a Word document. A collection of files on your school server. The thing is, just start it. If it is used and added to, it will grow over time. It will evolve and be reorganized to meet the needs of the user, so don't worry about trying to make it perfect to start with. It will evolve and change. Where do you get the information for the Jedi Library? The biggest source is the internet. You use this for general information. Next, your photographers. This includes other photographers in the school. For example, yearbook, journalism, ASB, and sports leadership. These people will provide you information specific to your school. For example, the specific exposure for taking basketball pictures in your gym. What makes the Jedi Library special? The Jedi Library is different than these videos or anything you will find on the internet. This is because your Jedi Library is specific to your school. The equipment that you have, not the equipment that I have. The light level in your gym, stadium, and theater, not mine. Because the starting exposure on my videos are based on the light level at my school, which may not be the same as the light level at your school. So when you make your Jedi Library, you make your exposure settings based on your light levels. Next, the physical locations at your school to take pictures from. For example, in the baseball softball series, where to take pictures for baseball and softball in those series of videos is specific to the fields at my school. Your field may be different, so the physical location to shoot from will probably be different as well. The Jedi Library. At Carmel, the Photographer's Jedi Library has grown to about 500 pages, and we had to split it into two parts. Part 1, non-sports, and Part 2, sports. Part 1, non-sports, general data such as techniques, planning, processes, etc., and shooting for non-sport events such as in the theater. Part 2, sports, material related to shooting sports, team pictures, senior presentations, and the individual sports. Part 1, non-sports. So what is in Part 1? It is basically the title. Everything that is not sports related. All the general information, all the configuration, things that you need to know for planning and basics. So everything that is not directly sports related is in Part 1, including non-sporting events such as the theater. Theater, how to take pictures in your theater or performing arts center, the gear you need, where to shoot from, techniques, and tips. The knowledge meeting. This is a meeting where ideas and knowledge is transferred from the experienced photographer to the new photographers. For instance, how do I shoot X event? What to watch out for when shooting Y? The info discussed and learned should be put into the Jedi Library. Ideas. This is a holding place for ideas that could be used in the yearbook or for future yearbooks. Part 2, sports. So what is in Part 2? Everything that is sports related. On the left, safety, general issues, when, day, afternoon, and night games, where, gym and stadium, team pictures, senior presentation, and schools, both our schools and other schools for away games, with maps and venues identified. And on the right, outdoor sports, indoor sports, and other sports. Team pictures. Procedure. What are the steps? Who is responsible for each part of the process? And how to set up and shoot a team picture. Senior presentation. At the last home game, the seniors are given a recognition ceremony. What pictures to take and samples. Other schools, away games. If you have to go to an away game at another school, where on the campus is the venue? You don't want to be wandering around the campus at night. If you spend half an hour wandering the campus looking for the venue, the game or event has already started, and you are already tired. Where can you park? Any special notes about the campus? For example, a note that the internal roads are not lighted at night. Campus map and aerial photos. Some campus maps are only of just the classrooms and do not include the athletic facilities. This is why you also have to include a campus photo. Note, Google Earth images can be several years old, and the campus may have changed since the pictures were taken. What schools do you include? I include all the nearby schools. Now, this is a personal decision. Nearby schools for me is schools within a short driving distance of campus, approximately 4 miles. It is that 4 miles that you define. You define your own radius for nearby. These are the alternate locations to shoot a game if not at home. So these schools are relatively easy to get to and close by the campus, so we can get to them fairly easily. However, I will also add more distant schools as necessary. For instance, we have a day game at a distant school, so I will add the information for that school so we know how to find the field. This is an example. On the left is the campus map. On the right, a Google Earth picture of the campus. And on the bottom, a description of the picture of the Google Earth picture so we can figure out where the different venues are. So we know that the map is up is east, north is to the left. And we know where's the baseball field, the football field, and the tennis courts. And for some of us, where's the yearbook room? It's in the Media Arts Center, on the left middle of the picture above the Performing Arts Center. Field sports, section for each sport, notation about how to shoot that sport, gear and exposure information, sample pictures and where they were shot from, pictures of the field and where to shoot from, things to be aware of. Example, in baseball there is something called a mercy rule where the game could end at 5 innings. It doesn't have to go all the way to 7. Fields, notes about your school's field, such as lighting. Then notes about fields at other schools. For example, where's the entrance to the field? Lighting for night games. This is a concern if the lighting is less than at your school. You may have to bring specific equipment for that school. Or maybe part of that instruction says, well, if you don't have the equipment, don't even bother going there. It's too dim for the equipment you have. Next, turf, artificial or grass. Concern is if it rains, sports on grass are subject to being postponed or canceled. And very important, where's the location of the restroom and snack shop? And for those of you shooting from the top, access to the camera and video platform. This is an example of the Carmont field. In the red circles are the lights. At the bottom, location of the restroom and the snack shack. Sample pictures with shooting location, lens used, and the map. On the left of the screen, pictures from the Jedi Library. What I want you to notice is what is in the red box below the pictures. So you look at this picture and you say, hey, neat shot of the guy running to first. I wonder where he shot it from. Look in the red box. It says shot from outer right field near the right foul line with a 75 to 300 millimeter lens. Then you go to the picture on the right. This is an aerial picture of this baseball field. So you look down the right foul line to the red circle. That's a shooting location. Lens used from that position, 300 millimeter lens. Bottom picture, tagging the runner out at second. In the red circle. Shot from the left side of the bleachers using an 18 to 140 lens. So we look for the bleachers. On the left side of the bleachers is the blue circle. So that's where I was shooting from that position using the 18 to 140 lens. So now you know how to duplicate or get close to some of these pictures. You don't have to go there and bumble around trying to figure it out yourself. You already know where you can start from. Pull, selection for each sport. Environment, of important concern. Which direction is the sun? Because the issue is reflection of the sun off the water is a problem that you want to avoid. So where do you shoot from? Any visual obstructions and issues. Example planning diagram for diving. Gym, equipment, camera and lens, exposure and white balance. Well, we have to deal with white balance in the gym. Sometimes auto white balance doesn't work. Section for each sport, discussion about shooting the sport and other schools. Lighting again. This is a current concern if the light level is less than at your school or if the white balance at that gym is different. You may have to use custom white balance. Example shot plan diagram for volleyball. Note to the advisor. Unfortunately, my experience has been that very few students will use the Jedi Library. Rather than look up the information themselves, they want you to tell them what they need to know. Or they just ignore the library and shoot the game or event ignorant of the information in the library. And here's the problem. They make the same mistake again and again, year after year, because they don't want to look up the information in the Jedi Library. In 3 years, I have only had a few instances of students contributing to the library. So the very problem that we're trying to address is not being solved. So the knowledge in their heads leaves the school when they graduate, and it is lost forever. And the same things have to be learned again by the next generation of photographers. YouTube. One of the reasons this YouTube channel was created was that the current generation of students prefer to watch videos rather than read books and documentation. But unlike a Google Doc document, a video cannot easily be added to or changed by the students. So unless it is captured, the knowledge in their heads will leave the school and be lost when they graduate. The end. Please like and subscribe.